So if I was like, gee, what is this? So it's not about what is this about, because it can change in the moment.
Yep.
We all know that. And so, so yeah, what do each of us want to bring to the table that somebody might experience?
Yeah, so I think primarily what we've described what we're bringing, we described the tools that we're bringing, but like I think the most important thing that I've ever learned from any sound healers or any healers in general that are doing work with groups is that really it's really the intent that solidifies what truly transpires within and what comes out of the experience. So I can talk a little bit on intent and what each thing kind of means to us and why we do them. So in terms of the piece that I'm bringing, the Lemurian Ulu, it's something that I've had passed on to me from a Lemurian mystic who has a lineage with 1,000 generations of people from Lemuria, and this is recorded in history. This is actually recorded in their ancestry. So it's a really beautiful connection to take away also this illusion that there was a world before this one. I want to actually break that illusion that there is something possible.
Wait, can I stop you just for a second, Nicole?
Yeah.
There wasn't what? You want to break the myth of there wasn't?
Sure. I want to break the illusion that it's just a fantasy, that there is actually a better world or a better possibility for a better world. So that is a part of learning these old ways, these old connections. And what it truly is it's a physical rhythm that gets you into the circadian rhythm of the sacred spiral. So there is a physical movement that goes into it, along with a chanting and an opening. And the words and the frequency of the chants open up the intent, and then it opens you up to new permissions within your own fantasy for what you want to be delivering and giving birth into this new world. So my offering is very specific about teaching people how to get permission and how to physically get in the rhythm with their body to get that permission into the cells of your body. It's a very practical thing. Like what I'm offering is very practical and useful. It's a tool that can be used with a certain amount of frequency within your life, just like a yoga or a meditation. And it just happens to come from an older time with an older language before Babel, pre-cognition of speech. So when we were telepathic, we had these rhythms, we had these movements, and we had the ability to be telepathic within our hearts, ourselves, and within connection to the universe. So all I'm doing is I'm bringing the frequency of me holding that belief in that magic, and I'm bringing it, I'm feeling called to bring it back. So that's part of my work. Right. And within that comes the opening within the frequency of music, right? Which is what Micaela does. So I don't know if you want to talk about
yeah, and I also just want to add to the thing that you did, because Nicole taught it to me. We did it over, I think, the Lionsgate.
Yes, Lionsgate portal.
And the Lionsgate portal, and it was really weird, how quickly, because you go in with an intention and then you call it in, and it very quickly just comes. To me, it came in very clear words. Some people it might come in another kind of way, but it's actually very cool. I was like, wow, it was very simple. And then applied just that information. It kind of I don't know, it feels like opening a portal up here for conversation with higher self is what it felt like to me. But it might be different for everyone.
Wow.
As far as the music offering goes, so it's a mixture. While Nicole is doing the Ulu.
I can't. Sorry, the system is breaking up a little bit.
So while Nicole's doing the Ulu, I was doing toning and bowls and stuff like that, because you kind of get into a flow.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a pulse,
a trance
that helps music hold that pulse. And I find with kind of the vocal guidance as well, that Nicole would be offering with words, and then the kind of energy of music holding, I find that gives a lot more momentum. At least when I've been held in music, it's given me a lot more momentum, and I'm it moves you quite a bit. And then I can't remember the order in which we were going to do it, but then there would just be a portion of actually just songs that I've written that I would love to share that are centered. Yeah, just a playful kind of playful, earth-centered, worshiping songs that are very much just like connecting to the inner child. I'm actually currently working on a children's album, but it's not really it is a children's album, but it's like an album for your inner child. So I would be singing a lot of songs that are either connecting to the land or your inner child, and just very much in a soft way, because it can be very intense. Like the call-in can be quite intense sometimes. Yeah. And so just like a bit of a pillow. Yeah. So just a soft.
Yeah. The opening and the physical movement of the ulu is very, very, it can be extremely emotional. It's very quick. It's very opening, and the spells that are cast within it and the things that come through your physical body as you're doing these movements tend to be very powerful. So it's like, it's a deep opening, it's a deep permission, and it's getting access to a part of your consciousness that if you're there with us, you've been calling it in, right? It's okay, here's what you're calling in, and here's that permission to open it up further. And the way that my mentor describes it is that, like, he said that, the banana tree, its fantasy is the banana, right? Its fantasy is the banana. And so what we're doing is we're giving people permission to be fully open vessels for their fantasy, right? This is truly the deepest part of what we're doing.
Wow.
I consent to my fantasy, right? It's the deepest part of what we do. And we're just giving the tools to access your fantasy and what is called your original song, your original frequency, and helping you tap into that.
And then also, like, another layer of that is, I'm sure you guys do a lot of work with manifestation, like, you live in a little garden of Eden, so, but a lot of it is like when calling in things, so it's like you're calling in fantasy, you're calling in desire, and then like the next step is getting into a frequency of having received that desire. And I find, just at least for me, music and play and just like is such big permission for just bliss and joy. And so just like being able to just get into that high frequency state, it's all very fast, it feels. Yeah. But like whatever people decide to call in, they're, yeah.
That sounds amazing. And as you guys talk about that, I move into the energy of what you're saying, and it's such an amazing, interesting blend of intense and light all at the same time, expansive and inner work all at the same time. It's quite profound. And I'm so glad that you touched on the inner child work, because when we came up with October 30th, the date came with such a feeling of like excitement, but like kid-like excitement. I remember as a kid, that pre-Halloween, like 2-3 weeks before Halloween, they just always, ever since I was a kid, always felt so pregnant with possibility and so rich with magic and potential. Ever since I was a kid, I can remember that feeling of oncoming, fall, Halloween, and that build up towards that sort of All Hallows. And although this has nothing to do with, spells and casting, because that is something that I was asked about, like, we're not conjuring anything, and I have assured people that this is not a conjure session. At the very least, we're going to be conjuring the inner child up to, receive. We're going to be, conjuring, if you want to say conjuring, and expansion and opening, which I think is the best possible kind of magic that you could possibly ever engage in. And so I just want to say thank you guys so much for bringing the heat, because I sense what is possible for the 30th and for our collaboration. And oh my God, I'm so excited, because you're bringing in a whole new level of understanding. Back in 2012, I don't know, you're probably familiar with a guy by the name of David Pinchbeck. He wrote a book called 2012, and he talked all about the time before time, the time before we got locked into, the Gregorian clock, where we all did function purely telepathically. We all functioned from that pure base of manifestation, where if you could think it, you could make it. We all came from that time period of being able to, manipulate energy and manifest instantly. And that, when I hear you guys talk, that's what it feels like you're teaching people, is that ancient memory.
Oh, we are.
Oh my God. And the fact that you're doing it through breath work, for me personally, I am so psyched to meet you guys, because you feel like you landed in, I feel like I've been looking for you for a very long time. I really have. And that, I mean that with every fiber of my being. So thank you for finding me and this and us and bringing the heat, because holy shit, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it really is. It's the remembering of it is. It's just a remembering of what is possible. And we are moving back into the times of the instant manifestation and the remembering of our power and removing of the amnesia, right? So the amnesia is lifting. And so in that amnesia, that lifting, there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of chaos. And there's a lot of looking for mothers. We're looking for fathers. And we're looking for help. What is this? And so
there's accountability. When you manifest your reality, there is a degree of accountability that can feel a little bit nauseating at first.
So can I share what I think I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that I know how to share with my people. So first I'm going to go to something else. Nicole, I just friend requested you. Just wanted to say that. Micaela, I don't know what your last name is, so I didn't do you yet, but I will. So as you're speaking, what I am actually also seeing is, or whatever you call that, what I'm aware of is the magic that you guys bring to the table when you're doing your work. I'm seeing sacred geometry. And I'm not a person who studies sacred geometry, because I know everything is sacred geometry, but it's almost like, I'm going to get rid of the word almost like. In my reality, what I'm aware of is that as you guys are doing what you're doing and people give themselves permission, it's not just light codes. It is that. But, sometimes language limits what stuff is, right? And so what I'm looking at as you were sharing is I'm seeing that, I know I'm friggin' sacred geometry. You know your sacred geometry. Other people have heard that term, but do they know what it is? Doesn't matter. We don't have to know what the hell it is, right? And so it feels to me like when you're talking about the Lemurian movement, which, listen, those are the words. It's that language that's going to make people go, woof, yes, right? Because nobody's fucking doing that, right? Nobody's doing that. Nobody is being that. So it's not about doing, it's about being, as you know. But as you were sharing, the two of you were sharing, what I was seeing was it's almost as if a lot of humans, their sacred geometry isn't embodied. It's not here. It's out there because somewhere we disassociated from our own light, our own geometry. Everybody is geometry. We know that we're all a different piece of it. And so I really get a sense that as you're talking, I'm getting a sense of that crystal, sacred geometry that we all be. It's welcoming that back, welcoming it home, remembering. And again, without it being, we're just no, it's not that. And so I love the movement piece, the breath piece, all that stuff. And so Nicole, where did you train with? And I'm saying that not as what brings you, to see. I'm saying that because I'm where the fuck did you learn this from?
So right? All of it, I guess, combined is just probably 20 years worth of stuff. But so I've had.
How old are you? What number do they give you?
I'm 37.
Wow. I love you guys.
But yeah, I'm also a psychic medium. So there's an element of that. There's an element I've had a near-death experience. I've fasted for 40 days on water. I could give you it's a really long path forward. But in terms of like,
so who's your mentor? So I get all that, and we could all have experiences of that, but who's your mentor? Like, where did you find this? Yeah, like the person that's with the Lemurian stuff in that. Pardon?
So after my 40-day fast, I started calling in psychically dreams of Lemuria, and I was told that this part of Nova Scotia that I live in is the new Lemuria, and I didn't know what it meant. So I started, because of that, matching the frequency of that, and I called in a man named Keone Hanalei from Hawaii, and started learning from him for the past 2 years.
Oh my God. And so is he a physical being, or is he?
Oh yeah, he's physical. Oh, he's real.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have the same birthday. We're the same age. We have the same alignments. And it's just, he's very much like a mirrored. He's also a queer man. He's just very much like a cool mirror for me. Right. So yeah, in that sense, that's where I've gotten a lot of the practical Lemurian wisdom. Wow. And I continue to learn from him from that, because I feel called to share it. So what I also want to say too on the sacred geometry stuff that you're bringing up and the remembering is that, like, we're all made of water, right? We're all made of like mostly water, and in the waters are where memory is held, right? And so by just, us remembering and our presence, our music and our chanting, it's like we can teach a lot of practical shit, but also a lot of this is going to be permission given based on our frequency, right? Yeah. But the frequency will be given within a practical domain so that the left brain can also attach to it, because without that, there's more confusion. So we want to fuse the practical with the reality, but also music is the vehicle that tends to the organs. It tends to the organs within the body to access the memory, right? So yes, of course, as you already have these memories, you have the knowledge within you already. We're just giving you access to what you already